Hey friend, are you asking yourself, is this what I really want to be doing with my life? I don't think so. I think there's something else that I'm meant to be doing. Welcome to the Painting Your Path podcast, where we have real conversations about what it takes to step out, be bold, and do you. I'm your host, Castillo-Ramsey. Let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome back to the Painting Your Path podcast. I'm your host, Castillo-Ramsey. And before we get into today's episode, I wanted to let you know that my group program, The Art of Becoming, is returning this June. This program is a 6-week creativity and wellness journey of shedding expectations, quieting the noise of overthinking, and stepping into your fullest self-expression. And maybe for you, that means connecting back to your creativity, or finally starting that passion project or next chapter in life. If you've been craving a supportive container to help you discover who you're meant to be, or becoming, this is your opportunity. Join the wait list. The link is in the show notes. I would love to have you on this journey of becoming. And at the end of May, I'll be hosting a 3-day event, which will be a sampler of the art of becoming, so you can kind of get a sense of what this program is all about. It's free, so mark your calendars for May 28th, 29th, and 30th, and the link to join is coming soon. Okay, on to today's episode. It's all about breaking free from the busyness that keeps you stuck. I'm joined by the incredible Francine Tirrell, spiritual mindset coach, energy healer, and founder of Forever Changed Coaching. We talk about what it really means to slow down, tune in, and create what Francine calls a big ass uplevel in life and in work. If you've been craving more clarity, more calm, and a little more magic in your life, this conversation is for you. So let's dive in. Francine, it is so good to have you on the Painting Your Path podcast.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Francine, I always like to give my guests the opportunity to just share a little bit about their path. So would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I was probably in my mid 40s. So I'll share. I just had a big birthday last month. So so about 15 years ago, I was kind of in this place of like, where did all my girlfriends go? And I found this women's group that was run by coaches. And 15 years ago, coaching was not the buzzword, and I'm using air quotes, the buzzword that it is today, right? Everybody's calling themselves a coach today. But back then, nobody knew what coaching was. And it was this great group that met once a month, and they had these really amazing conversations. And at the time, I was running teams in a corporate setting. So in theory, I was a coach, right? Because I was coaching my staff. But I was like, what is this coaching thing, right? I want to do more of that. So I looked into going to coaching school, and it was not inexpensive. And at the time, I was like, well, that's a really expensive hobby, right? Like to do something part-time. So I put it on the back burner, and a couple of years went by, and a friend passed away suddenly at the age of 50 from a heart attack. And I thought, okay, how much longer do I keep putting off this thing that my calling to really do this? And in the meantime, I had I had become a Reiki certified healer. So I was like dabbling in other things. And after the funeral, I called the school and I said, when does the next class start and how much are the student loan payments? So I think I paid $120 a month for, I don't know how many years. I think I paid it off a couple of years ago. But that really started my path, but I still wasn't, I wasn't at the I wasn't in the trusting place to quit my job to do it full
Right.
time, right? I can't quit. I need the money. I need the benefits. I blah 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 blah. And in the meantime, I had gone to a 4-year healing program and then started teaching at the program. And then in 2019, I was with a startup that didn't quite start up. And
Ah,
in December of 2019, my boss pulled me aside and HR walked into the room. And that's never a good sign if you've ever worked in
no.
a corporate job. And they were closing the startup. So, okay, that's December of 2019. January, go through the holidays. January of 2020 comes and I start looking for a job because that's what you do. You look for a job.
Right.
And then this little thing called COVID happened. And I often say that I manifested COVID because the universe was like, girlfriend, we need you to pay attention. And the
Right.
only way you're going to do it is if we shut the world down. So in April of 2020, somebody reached out to me and was like, hey, are you coaching? And I was like, sure, because what else am I doing besides painting my entire house? So in April of 2020, I really started full time. But because I was on unemployment, I was still looking for jobs and I wasn't quite in that trust and surrender place. But what I noticed was every time I had a job interview, my body constricted. I had anxiety. But every time I coached a client, I was expansive and loving it. And after feeling that a few times, I said to my husband, we got to make a decision here because my body is saying,
Right.
girlfriend, you are not doing this corporate thing. So my unemployment eventually ran out and I was like, all right, I guess we're doing this corporate, this solopreneur thing. So I've really been full
So,
time since 2020.
oh, that's fantastic. And
Yeah.
like you, I went to grad school for organizational psychology. That was the first time I heard about coaching.
Yeah.
But all these years ago, but like you, it was like, ooh, what is this? I
Right.
like it. And being in corporate, you are a coach, as
Yeah.
like you just are. Like that's legit. We get to call ourselves a
Yeah.
leader, a coach, all the things. So very similar to
Yeah.
you.
But what I would say with that
Yeah,
is learning coaching and being like what I thought I
for
was doing,
sure.
two
Yeah.
very different things,
Yep.
right? So I was more, I often say there's a big difference between a coach and a consultant, right? I call myself a teacher as
Definitely.
well because there are pieces that I'm teaching, right? And a
Yep.
consultant tells you what to do, and a coach knows you have the answers and just asks you so that you have the shifts and come to the conclusions on your own.
It,
Yeah.
uh, and really, like, I would always ask my team, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And that is
Right.
such a great question because yeah, because we have the answers. We might not know how to do something and
Right.
we need to be told that process, but
Right.
we have a lot of the answers within us. So 2020 was your year. That's so
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And how's it going
It's,
now? Who are you
yeah.
working with?
Yeah. I love what I do. I work with women, primarily women entrepreneurs, but I also work with women in corporate who are really juggling it all. And
Yes.
they're overwhelmed, they are stressed, they are um, probably on the verge of burnout. And really, from the outside, they look successful, but on the inside, they just don't feel like they're doing enough or they're doing it right. Like I said, they're pushing through burnout or they're in burnout. And together
Right.
we unravel what's keeping them stuck because that's at that fundamental level, they're feeling stuck. And we unravel that so that they can have the energy and the confidence to build a thriving business, a thriving career, a thriving life on their terms and not anyone else's. Because often we're creating a life that someone else has dictated for us.
Oh, so true. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I do similar, but through art.
Yeah,
Yeah, to help them
yeah,
get back to what is that?
right.
What's my essence? Um, I also know that today we're going to talk about messy middles because that's
Yeah,
what this season is all
yeah,
about. And I know you recently went through something and you're um, still healing physically, but could you
Hmm.
share with us, like, what happened,
Yeah.
Francine?
So, in October of 2023, I had my hip replaced, and in October of 24, I had my knee replaced.
Yeah,
So, as a business owner, I mean, that's a struggle because, you don't have short and long-term disability. You don't have sick time. Nobody's paying you for taking time off. So, really having to balance taking time off and taking care of myself, which many years ago I would not have done. But really knowing that I had to take the time off because if I'm not caring for myself, I can't be there for my clients. Right. So I really
right.
needed to take the time. And I'm still in the healing. I'm still in physical therapy. I'm still building strength and, still not fun with the knee right now. But knowing that I still need to do my exercises every day and take the time to heal me so that I can then do the work that I'm meant to do.
And was that challenging for you to do, Francine? Or are you the type of person that, like, knows to slow down?
Yeah.
Because I know you're a high achiever.
Right. So I would say it's much easier now than it was 5 or 10 years ago. Um, I have to, as a coach, I have to also walk my walk, right? So I teach my clients to put the oxygen mask on them first before they put it on someone else, right? So when I had my hip done in 2023, I had to really learn to receive, right? And
Yes.
to, I always felt so guilty. My husband is amazing and he would do everything, but like he would just get me settled and I would, he would walk away and go sit down to do his work and I'd be like, oh gosh, I forgot something. So I would feel, I had to get over that feeling bad to ask for what I needed. Because so often as women, mostly I work with
Yes.
women, I have worked with men, but mostly women, it's hard for us to ask for what we need.
Oh
And it
my God,
really has been a
yeah.
practice for me over the last few years, even I mean, I probably couldn't have healed the way that I healed had I not done the work that I had been doing over the last few years in learning how to receive, learning how to ask for my needs, learning how to just be still, be quiet. It's still a
Right.
challenge, but I now know the importance of it. Where 5 or 10 years
Yes.
ago, I would have just been like, I'm fine. Give me my laptop. I'll just work while I'm
Right.
here. Right.
Yeah.
I now know, last year when I did the hip, I didn't take as much time off. And then I had to cancel some appointments because I was like, you know what, I'm not ready to come back. So this year I took more time to give myself more time. And then I eased back in. I saw clients only. Then I started going to networking events and then, adding on. But it was probably a couple of months before I was back full speed.
Uh, I love that you, it sounds like you would do something, something would happen. It's like, uh-oh, nope,
Yeah.
not yet. Let me
Right.
like go back and then just learning from there.
Yeah. And not
Okay.
have shame and guilt around it.
Yes.
Because often we push
Yeah.
through, right? As women, we're
Right.
like, we got stuff we got to do, right? It doesn't matter that I'm in pain. It doesn't matter that I'm tired. I've got to do that.
Oh,
So I've
totally.
really learned to not do, like, listen to my body, not push through it. And
Right.
notice. Like I had physical therapy yesterday and it where I am, I'm in Massachusetts. Yesterday it was 65 degrees here. So it might as well have been summer, right?
Nice.
So
Oh
I took
yeah.
advantage of that and I went for 2 walks. Well, by the second walk, I was in a lot of pain, right? Because I haven't walked that much in 6 months, right?
Right.
And so today I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do my I'm going to take it easy today and, not push through the pain. So it's listening
Yes.
to my body, listening to what I need, not versus what I think I need to do or what I think others expect of me.
Thank you for sharing your messy
Yeah.
middle.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to talk to you about something you shared with me, which is the whole notion of busyness
Yes.
and why it shows up and what to do about it.
Yeah. So the addiction to busyness is real. Um,
Yep.
and I often say that there's different forms of addiction, right? We're addicted to food, we're addicted to alcohol, we're addicted to drugs, we're addicted to busyness. The difference is If you're addicted to food, you're fat. If you're addicted to alcohol, you're a drunk. If you're addicted to drugs, you're an addict. But when you're addicted to busyness, you get the atta girls, right? You're a
Oh, yes.
productive, accomplished woman who's getting shit done. I don't know if I can say shit, but
Yep, you
getting
sure
shit done,
can.
getting shit done, right? So there's this place of I got to keep doing so I can keep getting the atta girls. The overarching with all the addictions is it's so we don't feel, right? I used
Uh,
to weigh 300 pounds, and I often say, I don't think there was a day I was hungry, right? But it was
yeah.
my way of not, I was eating my feelings. I was stuffing the feelings. So, and that's with all forms of addiction, whatever it is that you're addicted to, it's a numbing, right? And so is busyness, because if we actually slow down and get quiet, we may have to feel something.
Yep.
And the work that I do with my clients is actually teaching them, because some of them are super cerebral and don't even know what that even means. Well, like when you say, what does that feel like? They're like, I don't even know. What is this language you're even saying
Right.
to me? It's foreign. But getting them to, one client, I actually said to her, what does it feel like to feel your clothes on your body? Feel your feet on the floor, like starting at a fundamental somatic level, right? Because as a society, we're just pushing ahead. We don't have time for the messiness, right? And feelings can
Right.
be messy.
Big
But
time.
yeah, and learning that you're safe and okay in the uncomfortableness. Often we don't want to sit in the discomfort. So what I will have my clients do is just sit in that discomfort. And then when you get on the other side of it, you recognize, oh, I'm safe. Oh, I'm okay. So that the next
Yes.
time you're willing to stay in it a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah.
And Francine, I love that. Like first, especially for people who are super maybe analytical in their
Yeah.
head, into intellect, like that's what
Right.
they um associate with. So first, feeling the clothes,
Right.
feeling their feet on the ground. What could be another step for somebody who's like, okay, got it. What's
Yeah.
one more thing they can do?
Yeah. So I often will say to them, where do you feel that in your body? Right? Okay, put your hands, you feel it in your chest? Okay, put your hands on your chest. What do you feel? Does it have a color? Does it have a shape? Right? Is it sharp?
Yes.
Is it dull? Is it heavy? Um, and sometimes they can't feel anything, right? But that's getting them in their head. So I will often do like a grounding meditation. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your seat in your butt in the chair, so
Yeah.
that they come out of their head. Oftentimes we live from our neck up,
Oh my God.
don't
Yep.
even know that there's anything from our
Right.
neck down. So it's getting them to feel that. I'm also an EFT practitioner. It's tapping, emotional
Tapping.
freedom technique for those that don't know. But tapping on the different points will also bring about some feeling and some, getting them to get in touch with their body.
Because you're literally touching yourself.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
also teaching them, sometimes it's just taking 3 deep breaths, right?
True.
I invite my clients to find a meditation practice. And it's not easy. I've probably been meditating off and on for 15 years. And for the first time in those 15 years, I've had a consistent everyday meditation practice. I think I'm on day 80 or close to day 80 right
Ooh,
now, right? On
nice.
Insight Timer, it tells you,
Yes.
right? And I don't want it to go
Yeah.
back down to 0, so I don't miss it. But and it has shifted, right?
Yes.
I've done some, one meditation for 2 months and then I switched and I'm doing another one, right? But allowing yourself to get quiet. And even this morning I fell asleep during it because I do it in bed. It's
Yes.
still, it's still working, even though I fell asleep, right?
Yep.
So allowing yourself to get into a space where you can have some quiet helps you to connect more with your body as well.
Yeah. Beautifully said. And me too with Insight Timer.
Yeah.
I tend to forget when I'm on vacation, and that's when it always goes back to 0. And
Right,
I'm like,
right. I know.
I was like so close to 365. But
Right.
I guess maybe I needed that vacation.
Yep, exactly.
So another thing I know that we're going to talk about, Francine, is really what it takes to create a big ass up level.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah. So my tagline is I help women make big ass up levels in their business and their life. And somebody asked me, well, what is a big ass up level? And I said, that is very different for everyone. But my definition is if it's something that makes you feel uncomfortable, right? It gives you that ooh, right? I mean, for someone, it could be dating. For someone else, it could be going for that next position. For someone else, it could be leaving their corporate job to open a business. For someone else, it could be just having a hard conversation with somebody, right? So it really can be different with everyone, but it's something that stops you. There's a stop, right? Because there's a fear, right? There's a little fear to it because it's the next level for you.
Yes.
Right. At one point, vulnerability was it for me, right? Having to ask for what I need and share. And when I was first practicing vulnerability, I would say to my husband, I just need to say this. I don't need you to respond, but I just have to say it.
Yes.
Right. Because before I would have just swallowed it and then, well, right. All that would have happened. So now being able to say what I need, right? But that at the time was a big ass up level for me, right?
Oh,
Making the
totally.
decision to not go back to corporate was another big ass up level,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But sometimes
Yeah.
it can be somebody wanting to get back in the dating world. That also can be a big ass up level. So it really is different for everyone, but it's your edge. Like
Yes.
where's your edge and what's the story you're telling? If you're telling yourself a story that I can't do that or that's not for me, but deep down you really want it, that's your big ass up level.
Right. And so, okay, now that we can maybe feel that, and
Mm.
vulnerability was it for me. And if I'm being 100% honest, I probably still
Yeah,
have room to
100%
grow,
still
right?
is. Yep,
I still have
absolutely.
room to grow for that.
Yeah.
So once somebody is ready to like, okay, Francine, I'm ready. What's maybe one thing they can do to help them like start crossing over?
Yeah. Oftentimes it's getting clarity, right? Because sometimes people
Yes.
think that that is what they want, and we really have to get clear on what it is that they want. So really, and sometimes it's that they just know that this isn't it. They may not know what the thing is. They just know this where
Uh,
they are isn't it. So it's getting clarity and really getting clear on what they want and why they want it. Right? Do
so
they want it because
important.
everyone else has it? Do they want it because
Yeah,
someone else told them they need it? Or do they want it because their soul is saying, this is it for me? So, really
yeah,
getting clear on your what and your why is really important.
perfect. And I think that is such a great starting point that so many people miss,
Yeah.
myself included, because I started thinking, okay, what's next? Out of the corporate job. But then I went quickly into how am I going to make money
Right.
versus really asking myself, what's my calling? And we all have to start somewhere. So it
Yeah.
might not be the exact place, but it is. I had some clarity
Right.
on where to begin. So thank you for that. I
Yeah.
think it's so important. Um, so Francine, before we transition into rapid fire questions, is there anything I didn't ask you that you want to share with the audience?
Ooh. Um, I think the one thing I would share with the audience is we all have a big ass up level. We just have to take a pause and so off to just check in with ourselves. And so often we're not willing to pause.
Yes.
And pausing doesn't mean that you're meditating for 30 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. It can be taking 3 deep breaths. It can be going for a walk, right? Without distraction, but allowing yourself the space to actually get guidance, maybe even so that
Yes.
you can then figure out what's next for you.
So important.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, shift us into rapid fire questions, just so the audience can get to know you more. I'm curious, Francine, do you have a word of the year?
I do. It is intentional.
Love
I
it.
am really good at just getting stuff done, but this year I want to be intentional about what I get done.
Love it. How about a current obsession?
All right. I'm really bad into some trash TV. So right now I'm into Love is Blind.
Nice.
I used to be a professional matchmaker and a date and relationship coach. So I love like Married at First Sight, Love is Blind. I love watching humans interact. And in my
Yes.
mind, I coach them a little bit.
Love
So right
it.
now that's where I'm at.
Oh, cool. Love is fine. How about your favorite color?
Purple. My
Purple.
purple nails,
Yeah.
my front door's purple. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very spiritual color. How about the best or most memorable advice that you have received?
Yeah. So, I just got goosebumps when you asked that. So maybe I need to remember this now, even. So when I got laid off in December, that January, I was in a mastermind. So the woman who ran the group that I was in 15 years ago, she's a master certified coach. She would run these masterminds, and I was part of it. And I went to it just a few weeks after losing my job. And of course, I was like, panic, panic. And she said to me, Francine, for as long as I've known you, you've always landed on your feet. And I was like, oh, right. But to have someone else say that, like, it was true. Like, I've never been homeless. I've never starved. I've never not paid my bill. Maybe there was a time in my 20s where paying my bills
Sure.
was tough, but I never wasn't able to function as a human. But to have someone else say that and see that in me was really, and I have to remind myself, as an entrepreneur, business
Oh
does its
gosh.
things, right?
Yep.
And I have to remind myself of that every once in a while. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. And how about the best place for people to connect with you?
They can go right to my website. You can find it either by francinetirrell.com or Forever Changed Coaching.
Perfect.
I'm on
And,
Instagram and Facebook and all the things, but
and all
my
the
website will
places.
get you. Yeah, my website will
Okay.
get you there. Yeah.
Cool. And I know you have a free gift for the
Yes.
audience. Please share more about
Yeah.
that.
If they go to my website, there's a little pop-up, and it's just some questions for you to check in to see if you're ready for your big ass up level. And there's some journal prompts as well for you to check it out.
Nice. And my last question, Francine. The name of this podcast is Painting Your Path. What does painting your path mean to you?
Yeah, I love that. Um, for my word last year was creative, because prior to that, I would say, I'm not creative. I'm not creative because I'm not Clarissa, right? I'm not an artist. And I had to learn that how I create is different than others, right? I'm a hairdresser as well. So, I mean, I have a
Very
form of,
creative.
right. So but to me, I was saying it with that. So I think painting your path is finding your way, right? Not comparing yourself to how everyone else is doing it, because that's what I was doing. I have a friend that's an artist, right? I was like, well, I'm not her. I can't do that, but I do create every day. I create,
Yes.
programs. I create content. I create miracles with my clients. So it's really finding your way and not comparing it to everyone else.
I love that. Thank you so much. Yeah. Comparison is the thief of joy, right?
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So embrace your creative.
Yes.
Thank you, Francine. And thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
All right, everybody. As I always say at the end of every interview, what's your biggest takeaway? Share it with us on social media. And until next time, keep painting your path. Thank you so much for staying till the very end. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend. If you haven't had a chance yet, please write a review and rate the show. I would love to hear your feedback. And I also have a free resource guide for anybody who is asking themselves, am I on the right path for myself now? Or is there something else that I really want to do? maybe you're in that quandary. Maybe you're wondering what's next. So head over to the show notes and you'll see my Painting Your Path framework guide. Download it and have some fun. Just start exploring. And thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you next week.